Hello everyone, weekend, and thanks for joining me on a Sunday. And we have 4 people who joined us. So just give it some more time, okay? Probably a minute or so, and then we can get started, okay? So also India, New Zealand is playing today, and I'm watching a good target. To be honest, I think we have every chance of winning this match. I'm not sure how many of you are watching, but I do watch most of the matches. You're already wicket down also. Okay, so I know markets have been pretty bad last week, and actually markets fell quite a bit, and a lot of stocks have fallen. And I was also caught at the wrong side. Especially, I didn't expect the Friday fall to be so severe, and it happened really quick. And it took me some time to react because I was waiting for the first few minutes to see first few hours to see what's happening in Nifty, and then I was planning the positions. I did go wrong in some of the positions I've taken, but I think it's just part and parcel of the markets. But definitely Nifty has broken a major trend line, right? So I think I did share this on Twitter that we have broken a major trend line. So that's the trend line, right? And we've been following this trend line since quite some time, right? So it has been a long time since trend line has been respected, and I think that break there is little worrying, to be honest. And yeah, let's see where it goes. Okay, by the way, I'm not sure if I just want to test my mic because it's been a long time, so just let me know if you can hear me and see me well before I kind of proceed further. Not many folks joining. Maybe it's a gap, people have forgotten to land investor, maybe. So just waiting for a few more guys to join. It's just 6 people who have joined us till now. And yeah, today we can take both questions, right? So I'm open to taking strategy questions, and I'm open to taking even stock related questions. So if you have any stocks that you're holding, and if you think that those stocks are not doing well, and if you want to know whether you want to exit or hold, do let me know. And also we'll discuss today about how we should be reacting to this market condition, right? So there is fear across the markets. There is fear of the Omicron or whatever that virus is, but the corona variant is actually causing a lot of fear. And to be honest, I'm in Europe, so I kind of understand the situation, and it's pretty bad. And yeah, markets have shown a very knee-jerk reaction on Friday, and yeah, it's anyone's guess whether this can follow or we see a pause in this trend. Okay, so we have 10 people, 12 people who joined us. So let's go forward, right? So let's take a look at Nifty first. So Nifty has definitely started along probably a medium-term correction or a short-term correction. At least if not medium-term, at least I see a short-term correction or short-term consolidation. Now, what has also happened here is we've broken the previous swing low, which was this point. So this was the previous swing low before we kind of formed a new swing low there, right? So we've kind of broken some key supports, right? So if you see that was a major support that I was looking at. So you can consider a HNS breakdown also here, but for me that low when it broke, so that was the start of probably a start of a downtrend. But for me, the final confirmation was when you broke the trend line and this candle formed. Right now, if you look at the last, now this is obviously an inverted head and shoulders breakdown as well. Now, if you look at the weekly charts, for me the most worrying thing in the weekly chart is that we've not had a proper single green candle, right? So that's one of the biggest worries for me. But just comparing the past, right, what happened in the last 1 year, 1.5 year. Now, even though we had corrections here and here, right, we kind of had a follow-up, right? So we also had a trend line breakdown here, and we kind of headed down. Right now, the same thing has happened now on the primary trend line, right? So here we've kind of had a follow through, and we kind of had good green candles. Now next week obviously there's going to be some gap down, at least a little bit of gap down. But if we do have a good weekly candle, like some kind of a hammer like this, or some kind of doji, some form, right? So we can say that trend is paused. At least the downtrend can pause for some time, right? And we might get some opportunities in some stocks to trade for short term and make some good gains. But for me, the most important worrying part is the big red candles that are forming right now. That shows that there is clearly some sell-off happening on the weekly charts, and we've not seen any good green candles. Now, in the past, if you've seen, we had two consecutive green candles, but then we had some kind of a pause, and again we had some kind of demand popping up every now and then, right around that zone, right? So that's something, that kind of action is something I expected to happen, but I think we have finally broken that long-term uptrend, and I think we are definitely headed for a consolidation, if not at least for a fall. I definitely see a consolidation happening. In the worst case, we're definitely going to see a fall. Okay, so if you look here, we have definitely formed a very bearish red candle, and it's a very strong sell-off that's happened this week. So there are two possibilities obviously from here. One is we consolidate for a few more days, and then we have a continuous breakdown. Okay, so that's the first possibility. Or if we can close this month, so we still have 2 days pending in this month, if you can kind of close back at least above 17,000 levels, if you don't go below 17,000 levels, I'll still give this market a chance for a sideways consolidation, and then we could probably head higher. Sideways consolidation, I mean, we might just go like this for a few weeks, like we did here, like we did here. We did go sideways for a few weeks and in some times, right? But if we don't close below 70,000 this month, that's some really bearish signs, right? And definitely most of the stocks are bearish. There are very few stocks which are really not bearish. But for me, the next major support zones that I'm looking at, for a short-term trading perspective or for positional trading perspective, is unless we don't go, we might take support around levels of 16,000. From levels of 15,400 to 16,000 is where I'm looking at. Now that's at least another 1,000 points, so that's around around 6% of correction. Now 6% correction in markets can mean a strong correction in many stocks, right? So now you might have a lot of questions, right? So what do I do in this market condition? Should I sell off? Should I keep holding on to my stocks? Now I always tell one rule: it doesn't matter whether Nifty is cracking or not. You need to look at your stocks, right? For example, let's take a stock like let's say Tangamail, right? So Tangamail is a good stock, right? And it's going higher. Now you can't just sell off Tangamail and just say, okay, I'm going to sit in cash, right? Now the reason is Tangamail is still doing very well, right? So it is in an uptrend. Even though the market is correcting, the stock still closed on a positive on Friday. So, and also if you look at this stock P, it is not really that overvalued, and it is doing pretty well. It is in a long-term uptrend. It is breaking out. Now definitely a stock like Tangamail, I would not be selling off. I'd still keep a stop around 1200 and I'll still keep holding it, right? Or if you want to be conservative, you can still keep a stop around 1290. Aggressive 1290 can be a slow stop. But whereas if you're holding a stock like, let's say, let's say if you're holding a stock like Sun TV, right? I'm just taking an example. Now Sun TV is definitely, it's not able to break out. It's still going down. I definitely not be holding the stock, right? You need to sell off the stock if you're positional trading, or if you're an investor, they need to know, probably go to the weekly time frame and try to find what is a weekly support, right? Now if Sun TV goes below 470, then probably you need to exit Sun TV, because it's still forming a higher low, right, on the weekly charts. Now you need to understand trends on the longer time frame. You need to know what kind of stocks you're holding, what is the trend on the weekly time frame, what is the trend on daily time frame, whether you're investing, whether you're doing positional trades. You need to be very clear on these aspects. Without being really clear on these aspects, it's very difficult for you, to actually go and take a decision. You can't mix really investing and positional trading. It's easy for me to speak, but I know definitely you're going through a lot of emotions as to whether you should be holding or selling. But if you can follow a certain set of rules, it's going to help you immensely. Okay, now let's take example like Morupan Lab, right? So Morupan Lab, I did post that it is a pullback trade, and unless it doesn't go below this week low. The reason I posted this was because it is attempting to make a breakout, right? And it tried to close above. Now unless it doesn't go below 46, which is this week's low, try to not exit Morupan, right? So Morupan can still go sideways and it can still head higher. Now many stocks can do this. Like I also posted about Thyrocare, right? Thyrocare, even though it went below, I'm not still sold it off. So I did tell about a stop loss of 1100. So I'm still holding this. I just wanted to wait and see what's happening towards the end of the day. Now again, it all depends on your risk appetite. Now some people might say, if your stop loss is you want to exit, it depends on the position size. If your position size is really big, if you're holding a 20% position size, you need to be really careful, right? And probably exit or just think at least what you're doing. Now Pfizer is another stock which I've given. Probably it's also looking to head higher. Now these are some stocks that I've bought, right? MOTILALOFS was doing also well. Now these stocks which I put up here are kind of looking strong on the weekly charts, on the daily charts. and I think these stocks still have the potential to head higher. So even though market is going down, some stocks might continue to do well. Some stocks can go sideways and then head higher once the market starts stabilizing, right? But whereas stocks like Blue Star, I have sold off Blue Star from portfolio because it's broken a recent swing high. But if you're investing, then you need to probably look at your decisions, right? Because on the weekly charts, it is still forming a higher low, right? Until 760 is not taken out on the weekly charts, you need to still keep holding Blue Star. So there is not really a good answer whether you should sell and sit in cash. If you're holding some good stocks, continue to hold them. They might do really well if the market stabilizes. So even if the market consolidates, right? If the market starts stabilizing for a few days, markets don't fall every day, right? Like in Corona, we had a very strong fall every other day. We're not sure if that will happen in this kind of a market. So it might go sideways for some days, and during that sideways market, some stocks can head higher. So you need to decide. A simple rule also could be use pivots, right? I've told this a lot of times in my initial sessions. Even if you don't know what to do, wait for until pivots are broken, right? So in this case, if we see pivot for Blue Star at 758, so until 758 is not taken out, and if you can bear that loss, then you should not be exiting the stocks, and you can do that also in the weekly time frame, right? Or another simple rule is to just use moving averages and don't sell a stock until it closes below 50-day moving average. So here it is closed. So if you have another close below 50-day moving average, then you need to exit, right? So if you're long term, then probably 200-day moving average. So I don't have really an answer to tell you how you should be doing or how you should handle your portfolio, but the answer definitely is not to sell everything and sit in cash. If you're holding good stocks, you need to think about them, and you see whether they're forming lower high, lower lows on the weekly if you're investing, on the daily if you're doing positional trades or short-term swing trades. So until that is not happening, you definitely need to be holding on to your stocks and try to develop some discipline. I'm also in deep drawdown, like around 15% drawdown since the last couple of months, and it is hurting, right? So it does hurt, and but definitely if you look at the last 1.5 years, you made some really good money. So try to not lose much and try to stay in control, try to exit your losing stocks and try to keep your risk under check, right? 0.5%, 0.25%. We know our rules. Start with 1% risk. If you keep hitting continuous stops, 0.5% risk, and then move to 0.25% risk if you're really in a very bad state, right? So that's how you should be handling your portfolio. And yeah, if you do have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. But as I said, it's up to you to define. No one can come and help you in your stocks. If you've bought a stock listening to someone's recommendation, then it's your decision that you've made. So definitely you need to go back and see what you need to do, and don't sit on stocks. No one knows whether this market will keep correcting for the next couple of months, whether it will reverse in the next 1 month. No one knows that, right? So don't lose your sleep. Definitely try to build some discipline, and this is a good time probably to build some discipline and try to correct your mistakes. Okay, so yeah, so that's it from my side. A lot of stocks have corrected. So even something like Network 18, which I was holding, I've kind of exited partial position here, and I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen here, right? So I think we've kind of had some resistance in this stock. Gravita also 207 was my exit point, so I've kind of exited Gravita. It's come two-way down. So until 188 is held, still it has a chance to head higher, but I'll definitely look at it again, right? So yes, definitely there are still some stocks like MAXHEALTH which can do well. And Gravita can also reverse, right? MAXHEALTH still not made higher, low. So yeah, you need to see what you need to do with your portfolio and ask me any questions if you have. Okay, so let's look at your questions. I don't have option selling strategies, Karthik. So to be honest, yeah, option selling is not my forte, to be honest. So probably need to check with someone who's already doing that on Twitter. Okay, do we sell a portfolio and sit in cash, thug life? Yeah, as I said, it's up to you. You need to decide what you have to do. If I tell you today to sell your portfolio, I don't know what stocks you're holding, right? So it totally depends on the stocks you're holding, how much drawdown you can handle and all that. So, but definitely if you're thinking that you can sell your portfolio and wait for 20% crash, that's not a different strategy. Okay, stuck in Karnataka Bank, should I exit? Varun, okay, let's look at Karnataka Bank. So as I always do, I'll give you stop losses. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to exit or not. Okay, yeah, so I still see Karnataka Bank has a chance. 66 can be a stop loss. So unless 66 doesn't, it doesn't go below 66 and doesn't close below 66, you can still continue to hold. It's very low close. So yeah, so decide according to that, right? So 66 is a very good support level for Karnataka Bank. Okay, Pfizer, I've given my view on Twitter, right, on Friday. So Pfizer looks good. definitely it's one of the stocks that I'm looking at, and I do have some positions. To be honest, I've traded some positions on Friday. So if you look at the volumes have been excellent, and on Friday, I think it has also reversed from a falling channel, right? So if you look at the linear charts, that's definitely a good buy. So we've seen some 3 weeks of movement, and again we've reversed this week. So that's what I call a proper, demand zone from where it reverses again and again. So that's a really good sign, right? And yeah, the stop loss is pretty low. The stop loss is around 4,880. So keep a stop around 4,880, and even when the markets fell on Friday, this was on stock. Second half, a lot of stocks started falling in second half, but this was kind of stable, right? So since that morning, it was kind of stable. It didn't really fall. So I do feel that Pfizer can do well going forward. Probably it might consolidate for a couple of days before moving higher, but definitely worth looking. Well, Sun Pharma also looks good. See, I did post on my Discord channel. So if you haven't joined my Discord channel, it's definitely time to look at it, because I did post about pharma stocks, and I said pharma stocks might have another correction, and they are looking good to head higher. And if you haven't looked at it yet, do join the Discord channel and check out. Now here, sorry, in case of Sun Pharma, right? So the stop loss is around 740. Now, yeah, if you've chosen a different stop loss, it's totally fine. So I drew it when it was around that point. It is completely reversed and it's headed higher. So definitely pharma is a place to be in. Now many people call this as a defensive place to be in, definitely. And I think definitely this is going to support markets at least a little bit, if not a lot. And remember, even during the last Corona crash, pharma actually did very well, right? So if you see here, back in March, it literally every week it was coming back, and then we had a amazing reversal, and many stocks did well in pharma, right? And I'm expecting pharma to do well again, and we might see some good moves in pharma again. Okay, cool. The next one is EKC and Dynamic Cape both did well in recent days and are holding strong. So let's look at it, Sagar. Yeah, so these are excellent stocks. That's why I say don't sell off, right? So Sagar is holding such a good stock, then there's no reason to panic. Some stocks will not get affected because the overall markets are falling, because there's so much of demand in that stock that stocks going to head higher, right? So definitely EKC is a place to be in. So keep a stop around 127 and see if it heads higher. Then definitely can do well. But that's a good, like it's breaking out of a long-term channel as well. Okay, maybe not, right? So again, it's a fantastic stock to be in. Dynamic cables, stop loss can be around 70 levels. It can continue to head higher. So even if it comes down, I don't think it'll break the levels of 70 anytime soon, unless markets are really, really bad, right? So obviously when markets are really bad, it might bring down some stocks, but strong stocks will try to resist that downfall, and because there's demand, right? So it's again a good stock. So that was asking about Aurobindo. Yeah, Aurobindo also is, like as I said, the pharma sector is looking good, right? So Aurobindo also is trying to come back. So obviously it has made high low lows. Now in this case, keep a stop loss around 630, right? 620 odd. So obviously it's not one of the strongest stocks. I'd prefer rather a Sun Pharma rather than being in Aurobindo Pharma, because Sun Pharma hasn't really formed a lower high on the weekly charts, whereas this has broken and it has gone down, right? So definitely a stock to look at. I think it can do well also going forward. So keep a stop loss around 620. Okay. Federal Bank levels to add more. I'm thinking 35. That's a really good thought. When everyone asking to sell, we have Utkarsh who's asking what levels can I add more. Now that's a very investment perspective, right? So if you're investing in stocks, that's definitely a way to look at, right? So here, if you see, I'm just going to pull this here. So definitely the level to add is around 85 you can add, but wait for a higher high low to form, Utkarsh. Now this stock is forming right now. It has broken the previous on the daily. It is forming low high low lows, but on the weekly it's still having an uptrend still intact, right? So the higher low still intact. So one point that I would be definitely interested in is 77, right? So if it comes by any chance to this trend line, right, which is around the levels of 83 to 77, right? 77 to 80. And that levels I'll definitely look at adding some more positions if you want to from an investment perspective. But if you're still doing positional trading, then I'd wait for a higher low to form, and then probably I look at adding more, right? So if you're really a conservative guy, then you need to wait for a higher to form. So right now it's forming low highs, and it's close to a major support zone, which is that long-term downtrend, right? And definitely if it comes to 82, probably you can look at adding 25% of the planned quantity, and then once it forms higher lows, then you can add more. But definitely for me, for the entire investment perspective, right? So if you're looking at from an investment perspective, then for me the levels of 78 is when I would be really cautious, and then probably exit some of the positions and then look at it again later. Okay, so that you don't lose more. Okay, but it's close, coming close there. Let's see if the market again reverses next week. Okay, NMDC, Saravana is asking. I think metals are really, going down. But the good thing about NMDC is it's still not broken that swing low, right? So stop loss can be 130 levels. So if you look at Tata Steel, or if you look at any other company, right? So if you see here, it's still going sideways, right? So 130 is still a very good zone. Until it doesn't go below 135, 130 it's fine. We can still continue to hold. Whereas if you look at Tata Steel, it's a completely different picture. It's still going down, continuously is going down, right? So I do have some lines that I've drawn. It's kind of breaking all kinds of supports. Now, for me, Tata Steel, if you're looking at Tata Steel, also major support zone is 1050. Maybe you want to consider the price action, what's happening there. Okay, but NMDC is definitely still, if it doesn't go below 130, I'm totally fine with it. You can hold. Okay. Rajat, that's really a good, that's really a good way to look at, forming inverted head and shoulders. But not many stocks would form, but definitely stocks which are forming inverted head and shoulders in this kind of a market are the ones that will do really well. So if you can stick only to that strategy alone, that will also do wonders for you. Abhinav, I have no idea. Just because Karnataka is going to impose lockdown doesn't mean Karnataka Bank will fall down. That's just, I don't see that rational really right. But follow the stocks, follow the stop losses that you have, and if it goes below that, just exit. Okay. Yeah, guys, please like the videos. Thanks, Apur. How does AstraZeneca and India Bull Housing look? Let's look at both. Okay, AstraZeneca looks excellent, right? That's what I said. The pharma stocks, it's straightforward, right? So again, if you see, we're kind of reversing around the trend line. It's forming a very good reversal, and it has done a good time correction. It is going higher. So these are straightforward picks. Just go ahead and buy them, right? So in a weak market, if a stock is reversing from trend line, it is showing good volumes, the stop loss is pretty low, stop loss on 2,900, go ahead and buy them, right? You might get some good trades here. So you can look for targets of around 20% returns, quick into 4,500, even 5,000 levels, right? So the pharma pack is definitely looking good. Now you are giving me also some ideas. I didn't look at AstraZeneca, but definitely worth looking at. Okay. So next is India Bull Housing Finance. Yeah, this also looks good, right? So if you look at this one, this is also reversing from a trend line. It is about to break out. It has moved a good 8% on Friday. A very good bullish candle. Stop loss is around 200 levels. Again, a brilliant stock to hold on to. So I think it is coming out of a downtrend. It might consolidate for a few more days, but keep a stop around 200. If it comes anywhere to 220 levels, then it's definitely worth looking at, right? Gopinath has a question. Sequent Scientific, Turkish lira is falling last 2 weeks, and maybe due to Sequent is falling. Any chance? Turkish lira has been falling since ages, right? Since the last 1 year, Turkish lira is falling. So if you're looking at Turkish lira is impacting Sequent Scientific, then that's not really a way to look at. I'll just show you Turkish lira of how it looks, right? So I have no idea what is the lira. Yeah, so Turkish lira, US dollar, right? So if you look at this Turkish lira, it has been falling since ages. Right? Since 2018 has been falling. So if you think that, that Sequent Scientific is getting affected because of this, there's no perfect correlation. So don't get into all these, news about some people is posting. Sequent has started falling recently, right? So it's not because of Turkish lira. I don't think, I'm not sure what's the connection. Maybe if you can tell me the connection, then I'll be, able to answer it better. But I don't see a correlation between these two, right? But definitely Sequent is in a strong downtrend. I did discuss this some time back. I think someone asked in one of the Google Meet live sessions. I said definitely at this point, that was a major weekly distribution. We had a gap down, right? So all signs of a downtrend, right? So it's still continuing the downtrend. And unless it doesn't form a higher low, don't rush into it. Now the most important thing that you have to do is in this entire downtrend, a lot of stocks will give you FOMO. A lot of stocks will move 15-20% up in a single day, and they'll continue fall. Now that happens always, right? You see here, we've had a good move here, it again came down. So don't rush into stocks. Wait for a good, as I always say, the best thing you can do is wait for a weekly CCI to cross 100, and once it crosses 100, it will come in your scanner, and then you can enter. So don't like if you see here, we had a good move, but then it continued to fall, right? Higher high, low didn't form. It didn't break out the previous swing high. But finally, it had a breakout here, but because of COVID crash, it came down, and finally we had a breakout and it went high. So don't have this FOMO and don't get into stocks. If you're holding stocks that are making losses, just exit them first. Make your mind clear. Wait for next, next stock to move up and then enter the stock. But definitely, Sequence Scientific is falling. I don't know. I'm not sure whether it is because of Lira, but there could be some other reasons as well. But definitely, supply is more than the demand, and that's why it's falling. Okay. ITC is still a SIP buy, right? Definitely. For me, ITC, so the four stocks I've mentioned, ITC, Bharti Airtel, these are definitely stocks that you might want to look at, because I don't look at them, for example, why I'm saying ITC is a long-term SIP, right? So I'll just show you quick reason why. Now, if I draw this trend line, right, so that's the major downtrend, right, in ITC. Okay, so just forgive me for that bad trend line. Okay, now even if it falls, ITC, even if it falls till 160, 170, I still don't see it breaking that channel, right? So that's the reason I say it's a SIP candidate. So just go ahead and monthly keep putting some money in that, in stocks like this, even in Bharti Airtel. These are stocks which have, very good companies. They have broken out of long-term trends. Even if they dip all the way to 500 levels also, it's a very good buy. But don't mix that with your positional trades. So if you're doing a SIP, stick to a SIP. Do it for the next few years. Try to accumulate as many stocks as possible. And definitely, if a stock is going sideways, it's a really good time to do a SIP on that particular stock, because you're accumulating a stock in a particular range, and once the range breaks out, you're going to get some really good rewards, right? Even McDowell, for me, looks excellent. I don't see why you shouldn't be doing SIP if you're planning to do SIP. Now, there's a difference between doing SIPs and there's a difference between positional trade. Positional trade is completely different, right? And SIPs are completely different. Now, obviously, now McDonald has broken a short-term downtrend now, right? And now it can come all the way probably to 780 levels. So until it comes to that level, probably want to add more and buy more, right? So keep doing that with keep doing it very disciplined, and you might actually gain some good quantities, and then you can make some good money. Okay. But one stock every day, I hope you're doing is Zerodha, because ICICI Direct, if you're doing it, you'll have a lot of charges. So I hope you're doing the Zerodha. Definitely one stock a day is totally fine. You can continue to do it, right? But also look at any charges that you're paying. For example, you'll be paying STT and all that. So you have to look at how much the cost is going. Okay, UCAL, Fuel and ALLSEC. Let's look at both. Guys, not a single strategy related question today. So I hope we also have strategy questions. Okay, so UCAL, I think the last point is 130 level, 135 level. So if it goes below 135, please exit. You can look at it later again, but definitely it is forming a major base. And I think if it goes below 135, now that's a major zone, right, of demand. So if it goes below 135, please exit. Until then, you can continue to hold. Okay, ISG, heavy engineering. Oh, this is what I say. Don't hold on to such stocks, right? So it did break down here itself. That was a swing low, right? So yeah, so this is a point probably where you should have exited if you're doing short term. If you entered here, then probably that point should have been exited. You should have booked some decent gains, unless it's not sitting in decent profit. If you're sitting in very good profits, then you can still give some room, and keep your stop loss here as well, right? Because after that consolidation, it had a big move and probably it will consolidate for some more time. But now it is even breaking that zone, right? So whatever it was, you must have exited this. I'll definitely look at the stock, and short term for swing trading or position trading. Okay, Aditya, Hindustan level looks excellent. Definitely, I've posted my views on Discord some time back, right? It's definitely at what you said is totally right. It's at a 4-year downtrend line. That's a trend line that you're looking at, and I'm looking at, and I think it can, do well going forward. So unless it doesn't close below that zone, this trend line, I still think it's also one of the candidates, from a long-term perspective. So there are multiple trend lines that you can look at. So this is on the log charts. If you look at the linear charts, it might give you a better view, right? But unless it doesn't go below 2299, so which is this zone, which is a major support zone, 2300 can be a stop. You can buy some decent quantity at this point right now. Okay, it can do well. Okay, JSW Steel also, Aditya has a question. Let's look at it. Right now, JSW, for me, even though if it comes to a trend line, I don't really care. But for me, what happens is what I will do is 620 can be a stop, 628 is that low. So 620 can be a stop. If it goes below 620, then definitely you need to exit JSW Steel, because it looks like a distribution on top, and then it probably can fall much lower. Probably levels of 600 is the first zone there, and then you can see some free fall there, because there's some I don't see any support zone there. So if it falls below that, then we're going to see some good fall towards 450 levels. Okay, so yeah, for now keep a stop around 620. If it goes below 620, you can exit. Okay, PSU Bank Bs, how do you see it? Yeah, see, Bs and all, if you can definitely buy PSU Bank Bs, because PSU Bank has broken out of a very strong inverted head and shoulders. So I don't see it going back below, and unless it doesn't go below levels of 2200, definitely PSU Banks is worth looking at, right? But if you want to really be conservative, then I'd wait for that long-term downtrend to be taken out, right? So that long-term downtrend is there, and yeah, unless that's not taken out, I still see that this can go into some consolidation mode. Okay, so yeah, if you're looking at adding PSU Bank Bs, then you can probably add it around 2490 levels. Once it comes to the 500 levels, once it comes there, you can add more. Okay, and that's the trend line that you want to look at. So once it comes around there, you can add probably more, right? So that's also a major support zone there, right? So yeah, but do it in SIP mode, or do it when there's a good fall. Don't just buy a lump sum. You might buy at the wrong price if you're not really good at technical analyst. So yeah, that's my view. Trident is super strong. Definitely, Trident has broken out from parallel channel there. I think it's looking really fantastic, right? So that's the channel that I'm looking at in Trident, right? So it has broken out. It's definitely moving higher, and now it definitely looks overstretched. Don't chase it right now. Probably wait for some consolidation, then chase it. What's the strategy for bear market? As I said, there are some stocks which are still looking good. Focus on them. Focus on stocks, pharma stocks like Pfizer, AstraZeneca. Focus on stocks like the one Sagar mentioned, EKC, Dynamic Cables. So there's not really a strategy for bear market or bull market, right? So higher lows is all you have to follow. Some stocks will break higher lows structure and form lower higher low lows. Some stocks will continue higher highs, right? Higher low higher highs. And until that is forming, you need to be in those stocks and try to hold on to them and try to make some money. Finally, our objective is to make money, right? Some stocks might not go into bearish phase. Even though market can be in a bearish phase, some stocks might continue to do well. So that's always going to be there, right? It's very difficult to find stocks in a bear market. So you might not get many, but the few you get might actually do very well. Okay, so that's my view. And guys, no newsletter today. I'm sorry. I was really busy, and I think I need to take some time off from work and from markets. And that's why I didn't do the newsletter, but I definitely want to do a session, because I'm sure a lot of you are worried of what to do, right? Can you give a walkthrough on Discord? Discord is just, it's a channel, it's a place where you can chat with people. A lot of people are there. We have around 150 plus people, and we do post a lot of charts, share our thoughts, share our ideas on how you should be trading and all that. So definitely look at Discord. Discord is a place you can post your questions, and probably someone can answer, or I can answer if I have time, and it might help you in some ways. I know some people charge for all that, but I'm not charging. So feel free to join. The link is there in the videos. You can go and look at them. Okay. Hi, Amit's asking, hi Marusa, how does so much data on your charts look so neat? What is the difference between regular and log chart? I've written a blog on this, Amit. So if you haven't looked at the blogs, guys, please go on the blog. There's a lot of materials that I've written, right? So in this bear market, if you're losing money, it's your fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's not the market's fault. It's not the people who give it tips fault. It's not my fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's your decision. You need to save your money. You can't be blaming markets, because markets will do what it wants to do. Okay, so if you want to really learn, go ahead here to my blog and learn, and try to increase your knowledge on markets. You can't just make money just coming here and randomly gambling between stocks. It's not a way to do it. It takes a lot of discipline and patience. It's not about hard work in market. It's not about smart work. It's about discipline. And if you don't have discipline, you can't really make money. Okay, so go ahead and read this blog and try to understand, and do ask me any questions if you want to understand a little about log scale versus this. Okay. So yeah, it's about practice, right? So Amit, it's also about practice. So I've drawn a lot of charts. I've you can look at my object tree over here. I've shown this multiple times, but I do have a lot of charts that I've drawn, right? A lot of drawings, a lot of trend lines. I've gone through thousands of stocks, and I keep doing it every now again and again and again. Like even though the market is in bearish phase, I try to find opportunities and I try to draw, right? So if you see, I've drawn 4,100 trend lines, or some kind of drawing that I've done as a rectangle or whatever that is, and I've looked at least 1,500 symbols, 1,500 stocks, and then that's the kind of practice that I do, right? And I keep removing some, I keep adding some, but definitely most of them are trend lines. So if you look at here, all the arrows are trend lines, right? So you need to keep practicing, keep doing it, and at some point you will gain knowledge, and some point you will become good. Okay, so guys, I think I've done. So we don't have any more questions. I'd love to answer more strategy related questions, but I think yeah, have a good Sunday. Don't freak out in this market, definitely, and don't have FOMO. I'm also still, it takes a lot of effort, and even today, even I'm struggling to understand, because last 1.5 years we've been really having some really good breakouts, we've had follow throughs, but the last couple of months have been really bad, right? So, and to be honest, our portfolio has come down, our trend line portfolio has come down from what 25% to today around 15%, 13%, and that's the kind of drawdown we are having, and it's just totally fine. You need to accept the fact that you lose money, and markets are going to turn at some point, and that you'll make money when the markets turn again, or when stocks still continue to do well. So keep yourself, keep your money and your physical health and your mental health intact, and your trading capital also intact, because when the markets turn around, you need to be there. You need to be there to welcome the markets with the red carpet, and it's going to give you money. But if markets give money all the time, everyone can make money, right? It's not that simple, and it's never going to be that simple. And to be honest, it's one of the best markets that we've seen in the last 1.5 years. Everyone has made money, and that I want this in my newsletters already some time back. It's not going to be easy hereafter. It's going to be very difficult, and you need to put in effort to learn. If you don't put in the effort, and this is a true story I'm telling you, this is a fact I'm telling you. So please put in that effort and join me in learning. And most of the videos are there on YouTube. I've given you some simple strategies that you can use. Go ahead and look at them and watch them, and you can make some money. Okay, so I think enough of that gyan which I've given. So take rest, and also if you're not doing well, just take some time off, and square off all your positions in positional trades, and just relax a couple of months, and then come back with renewed energy. That's also a strategy that you can use. It's a strategy, right? So when you don't do really well, you need to take some time off. So that's it, guys. I'll leave you here. Take care and enjoy Sunday. Don't forget to enjoy Sunday, and don't forget to enjoy your life. The market's not the only thing in life, and my wife keeps reminding me about that every now and then. And you need to enjoy your life also sometimes, and trade safe and keep your capital, mental capital, and your trading capital intact. And we are going to see good markets again at some point. So bye. Take care. I'll see you again on live on Monday. If